going to put himself in the Cold War situation of being between the English Hamlet of Sir Laurence Olivier and the Russian Hamlet of Inakentsis Mukhtanovsky, the film directed by Grigory Kozytsov. Where is he going to come down, or is he going to invent a third way and give us a non-aligned Hamlet? This is literally the discourse. And so he invented a third way. Many critics who wrote about this production, including Dr. Mohamad, were very complimentary and gentle, because this was such a difficult text, and bravo to the Egyptian theater for attempting it, even though he was very critical, rightly so it seems. I've never seen it, of course, but the recording doesn't exist. But it seems from reading all the reviews there was much to criticize. But the effort of the Egyptian theater to advance an original interpretation of Hamlet was something to be recognized and applauded. After the death of Abdel Nasser, just showing you had serious culture and you had serious characters, ala mustawa alami, didn't do it anymore. Theater had to do something else. It became political, and it was about mourning Abdel Nasser, who became cast, I understand, is that okay, Nadia?
Yes.
It became cast as the ghost of Hamlet's father. Because what do? He dies. He leaves you some message. You have to somehow do justice to his dream, but you don't know how because he's dead. And, you know, So there's this situation. It comes out of the emotional attachment between the Egyptian people and Abdel Nasser. This is from a comic book biography of him that's brilliantly analyzed in this book, Arab Comic Strips, by Alan Douglas, and Pedro Monte Douglas. You can see Nasser's in the middle, right? The people laugh with him, they cry with him in 56 and 67 respectively, and then he dies. And what do? So Mohamad Subki, for instance, I'm going to talk about this show a lot, and another talk I'm giving at Gamat Shams next Thursday, invents a Hamlet that starts with the funeral. There's a long introductory sequence. He starts with Hamlet's funeral, which is not Abu Hamlet, but it's Hamlet's own funeral with the Carmina Burana as the background music. It's very strong. The atmosphere of mourning pervades the play. It's a very political play, and this Hamlet, as Subki directs him and plays him, is Che Guevara in doublet and hose. It's a little silly. This whole production is now online. I got a tape of it from Subki and digitized it and put it up on globalshakespeares.org so you can see it. That's the second phase. It ends pretty fast because people see that playwrights and directors see that political theater is not, it's not going to displace the regime, it's not going to accomplish major change. We've made fun of the Claudius regime, we've shown that the emperor has no clothes, and there he is, sitting naked on the throne. So after this kind of dead end, the next phase, inevitably, and I think the beginning of this phase is the play of Rafat Adwari, Shakespeare for Aqaba. The beginning of this next phase is irony. The Nasser may have censored the theater, but at least he cared about it. The point of Dwari in Shakespeare's Melikan is that Sadat doesn't care about theater at all. Nobody cares anymore. Who's in the theater to watch this? And so the next phase is irony. There are many of these plays, not just in Egypt, but throughout the Arab world. These are plot summaries of a few of them. You have Hamlet Al-Wan. You have one from Jordan, the Fawanese Hamlet. Hamlet. You have Ra'as al-Aqarib by Mahmoud Abu Doma in Istidriya. You have Jawad al-Asadi's Insu Hamlet. And you have a lot of these others. You could also add Nagib Sarur in here, of course, Hamlet. This reading of what can we do except just laugh ironically and try to keep our own humanity alive, even if it's just the director and his 10 friends in the theater. Just because we know that theater will not change the situation. And in fact, we make fun of playwrights who think that theater will change the situation. This is Mamdouh Halwan. His Hamlet is a director. Give me a second. Can you read this? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so he's doing a play called Shahrazad. that's just plain kind of isqat siyasi. And Horatio makes fun of him, and we're supposed to side with Horatio. We're supposed to understand that no, a play cannot stab. A play is not a knife. You know, you Hamlet, naively you think you're going to put on a mousetrap and catch the conscience of the king. Good luck. You know, the king, manush conscience aslan. And in fact, the real effective performance here is not Hamlet's performance, it's Fortinbras's performance. He comes and proposes an economic cooperation deal. This play was written in Syria in 1976 and was staged in the National Theater later in protest of Sadat's trip to Jerusalem. But it was published in 76. So this is it, right? It's Rul Salamwed. That's who's really talking, and that's what's really running the show. And Hamlet, with his intellectual pretensions, by the end of the play, he's useless, he's drunk, he's late, and he is killed in a show trial. After a show trial, he's convicted and killed. This is a common pattern. This is Ned al-Moran's reading from Jordan, 1984. The same thing, he has an opening dance number, which is very funny, saying, you know, the ruler is like a blind man. He's helpless without his stick. But in the end, here too, Hamlet, his attempts to stage a play within a play and accomplish some change through theater are just ridiculed. This is even worse. This is Insu Hamlet, which you may have seen here in Cairo as Shebek Ophelia, Fitasenev, I haven't seen it. I've read about it, I've read the script, I've translated the script, I've talked to Joanne, I've talked to the actors, but I haven't seen the show. I would like to. And the point here, Insu Hamlet, you know, the Hamlet you know, this only works in the Arab context. In the West, if you forget Hamlet, there's nothing to forget. But here, there's you know, this Hamlet, forget him. You are not the Hamlet I know, says Horatio, which is the Arab heroic Hamlet, the freedom fighter, the martyr for justice. You're not the Hamlet I know and have lived with. And Hamlet says, well, maybe I should change my name. He doesn't care. He's a disappointment completely. And in this play, Claudius survives, and he's still on the throne at the end of the play. Things change a little bit after September 11th. This is a kind of borderline case. This is Suleiman Bassam. He wrote this play in the West, in England, for a British audience, and then it traveled here. And then he became an Arab director. He started directing in Arabic and now writing in Arabic. And his next project is to direct Sada Lobna's الشباب حولات على خشبة مسرح الكوميدي الفرنسية.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty great. 2013, inshallah. This is his early attempt, and it's again a political Hamlet, and at the end, there's barely equality. Hamlet is firing from the mosque, and Claudius is firing from the palace. So, what happens now? We've been through these three phases. We've been through the serious theater phase. We have serious theater, really, we do, please. We've been through the Masrah al-Tasis phase, led in Syria by Sadal Nus, led here by other people, where theater is trying to incite the audience to motivate them to accomplish political change. We've been through the irony phase when all of that fails. What now? And I want to argue, and Hani's going to help me argue, that in the last few years, political theater is possible again in a different way because it has a public. I think the public is international. I've been to New York, I've been to Washington, I've been to London. But there are people watching your show who have decision-making power. And thus political theater, in the direct sense, trying to motivate political change may be possible again to some extent. We could introduce here a conversation about Khaled Sawi again aloud for the Mer, something like this, which, you know, maybe art, whatever, high art, Manish Bas is trying to do something in a way that would have seemed ridiculous 10 years earlier, I think, before the American invasion of Iraq. I think political theater is possible to take seriously again. You can see this in the trajectory of Suleiman al-Halabi, about Farag. When Mahmoud al-Lozi does this play in 2004, he takes out all the deep stuff, all the business, he cuts it, and he leaves in this. This is the American occupation of Iraq. projected onto the French occupation of Egypt under Cleopatra. This is Hamlet Bila Hamlet that inaugurated the Iraqi National Theatre in Baghdad. Again, a politicized reading, also with elements of Tazia theater in it, which is a political thing to do, obviously, in post-Saddam era. And finally, we get to you. What's this? I have some. We're going to talk about this play. Here you are. Yeah. And I just want to show you some text from this play very fast, and then we're going to show you a couple of scenes. This is my favorite. We're going to see this one. This is Café Cilantro. شكله طبعا أكون شكله الأحمر إيه